The following information is an educational aid only. It is not intended as medical advice for individual conditions or treatments. Your experience may differ from the experiences depicted in this program. Talk to your healthcare provider before following any medical regimen to see if it is safe and effective for you.
People having a transplant often feel strong emotions during the process. So do their caregivers. Dealing with a serious disease, coping with the effects of conditioning, waiting for engraftment, being away from home. It's very normal to feel a variety of emotions. There are members of your healthcare team who can help you cope. Your nurses, a social worker, a chaplain, a psychologist, and more. In this chapter, you'll hear from some of those people. You'll also hear from people who have been through the transplant process and volunteered to share their stories with you.
I did come to this conclusion when I heard my diagnosis. I would not become my disease.
I thought at the beginning I could be a tough guy and I just power right through this. Well, that didn't work. It just seemed like no matter how hard I pushed to be a tough guy, it pushed back just a little harder. So I finally had to just resign myself and kick back and get through it the way I was told.
When you go through this process, you may not get ahead of yourself. There is no way to push the process. There's no way to make it go faster. And it's day to day. And if you can't do that, it's very difficult.
People feel tired, they're weak, and they don't want to get out of bed. So they don't get out of bed. So then as a nurse, I need to go in there, open the windows, pull back the drapes, let the sun shine in, and get that individual out of bed. That's a tough thing. Because as a nurse, I would like to have them stay in bed and be comfy and warm all day long, but that is not therapeutic. It is therapeutic to get that individual out of bed, exercise, walking, moving, preventing complications from immobility. Without a doubt, that is the biggest complication that we see.
The first time that he got grouchy with me and kind of snapped at me, I was really hurt because here I was trying to help him and he was sitting there, you know, griping at me.
There are times when folks become angry. They're angry at God that this illness has overtaken them.
I realized that he was totally out of, you know, things were out of his control. And he had a right to be angry. He didn't feel good. He couldn't do the things that he normally would be doing. And you just have to take that in stride and just know he's not angry at me. He's angry at the situation. And, you know, I'm going to try to help him through this.
I think that we are either given or innately have more strength than we think that we do. And we surprise ourselves sometimes. When we feel like we're flat on our back and beaten, it turns out that down deep inside there somewhere, there's another scoop of strength to be accessed.
Physically, there were times that I felt really awful because I just wasn't taking care of myself. And you really need to do that because you have to be healthy to take care of them.
Certainly if somebody wants to stay in the room with their loved one 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all night, that's certainly an option, but not healthy for either one. Not that there's risk of immunosuppression issues, but there's risk of getting on each other's nerves in an incredible way. Boredom, picking, arguing. So I think the time away is so important for the caregiver, and the time apart.
At least take a little time each day, meditate, read, do what you like to do. Exercise would have been really helpful, and I think that I would suggest that to people now that I know that that's a real stress reliever.
Reach out for help when you know that you're having trouble and you're feeling overwhelmed. Talk to the nurse, share with the doctor some of your concerns. Share your concerns with the chaplain.
Your friends want to do things and they want to help you, they just don't know how. So if they offer to help you, let them.
I do encourage people to have some fun. if you can, in a hospital or in an outpatient setting. Sometimes it's pretty hard to maintain that sense of humor, perhaps have some toys to play with, some reading materials, some funny movies.
It just seemed like my attention span was nothing, so I would do mindless things. I would just sit there and listen to music, or I'd get on the internet and chat with my friends and tell them how I was doing and see what was new in their lives.
We did things that didn't take a lot of energy. You know, we'd go out for a drive.
I think it's very helpful to folks if they have some goals, and one might be, for example, I have a granddaughter getting married in August, and I want to be at that wedding.
We planned a trip to Hawaii. And going into the transplant process, we had that in mind, and it was something we were energized by and we knew was at the end of the process.
My goal was to get back to a job that I loved and that I wanted to do. It was to pick up my life, to do things I loved doing again, and to have energy.
My long-term goals were get back to school.
One of the things that we have learned to come to grips with is that myeloma is pretty tenacious, and it's a disease that seems to find a workaround to whatever treatment you throw at it. So I've resigned myself to the fact that I'll face more treatment. If the disease, or when the disease rears its head again, whatever treatment there is that my physician recommends, we'll consider and probably go ahead with.
Blood and marrow transplantation has the potential to be of tremendous help to many people. It is a long process, but there are many people who are now, many have survived many years after their transplants, are working, are going to school, and enjoying family life.
The gift of hope is real important to me, that it somehow helped me to get through all the twists and turns that came in this whole process.
It is a long process, it is a challenging process, but there is potential for great return of many years to come.